one very important area. And you will get an understanding what the elite think of us, the common man, the mass of ordinary, everyday people, which is what most of us really are. We're all special in our own way, but we are a part of the masses of people. They believe that we are cattle, that we do not use our intellect, that we are easily manipulated, that we will not solve the problems of the world because we are greedy scumbags. And because of that, we are nothing but stakes on the table for those who will use their intellect. And until we change that, they're going to treat us like cattle. And I've got to tell you right now, on a daily basis, we prove them right. Next. Close Encounters of the Third Kind, E.T., V, many, 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 many others. Many, many, many movies. We've been bombarded with alien movies, alien commercials, an alien spaceship landing at the end of the 1984 Olympics to reinforce in our consciousness the creation of an alien threat that does not exist, or to wake us up to an alien presence that has been here for many, many years. It's not an accident that these things are happening. It's not an accident that you're seeing on your TV. Was it ITT or ATT? AT&T, one world, one card. These aren't accidents. Right out here in the lobby of this church, you see a picture of the world on the bulletin board. And go, when you leave, just look what it says. Next. Don't get me wrong, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not opposed to a one-world government at all. I think in the evolutionary future of mankind, it is absolutely necessary and unavoidable. What I'm opposed to is being manipulated into something I know nothing about, and knowing the fact that if I have to be manipulated into it, I'm not going to like it. And knowing that the best government that's ever been created on the face of this earth is going to be destroyed in the process, and that we're going to lose our Constitution and our Bill of Rights in the process. That's what I'm opposed to. I want to be included. I want to help them decide what this is going to be, so that I can be satisfied with whatever it turns out to be. Stephen J. Kurzweil, MD. I've met this man, I've talked to him, I've researched this case thoroughly. This is his credentials, his curriculum vitae. Look at who this man is. This is no flake. This is a medical doctor with many degrees, a lot of credentials and memberships in many of the medical society, what do you call them? Associations, I guess. He's also Phi Beta Kappa and an Alpha Omega Alpha Honor Medical Society. This guy has the credentials that most people would drool for. What happened to him? I'm going to show you his testimony here in a couple of minutes. What happened to him, he was approached by someone named Joan Thompson at a not at a UFO meeting, to attend a UFO meeting. He said he really wasn't interested, but went because she was a pretty woman. He wanted to meet her. He went with her. It was like a date. He said what he learned there astounded him. He never heard of any of that stuff. But he also met somebody named Bud Hopkins. Joan Thompson told him that she was an agent of the Central Intelligence Agency, and Bud Hopkins identified himself as also being an agent of the Central Intelligence Agency and recruited this doctor to help them work with abductees and report information to the Central Intelligence Agency. He worked with them for a while until he found out that Bud Hopkins had no credentials whatsoever, was an artist, a painter, but was hypnotizing people who had been abducted, was conducting group psychology therapy sessions with them, was extracting as much information as he could out of them and then dumping them like a hot potato. And this man, Stephen Kurzweil, MD, with all these credentials, reported Bud Hopkins to the New York State medical authorities, and nothing happened to Bud Hopkins. Stephen Kurzweil, on the other hand, was charged for being delusional, and they're trying to take his medical license away from him because he told them that Bud Hopkins was engaged in this research of alien abductions that the government was covering up, and he was judged to be delusional. We have all the documentation, the medical reports, everything. Next. It's all in my book. These are the official charges that the state of New York brought against him. It's incredible. Next. Schizoid personality disorder. Grandiose and paranoid type. Next. This is his testimony, sworn under penalty of perjury, signed and notarized. It's in my book. It proves the assertion that I've been saying all along, that most of the people that you ever see on the stage of a UFO symposium are working for the government. When they have a show on TV like UFO Cover-Up Live, which William Moore participates in, who is an admitted government agent, with all the others, and then they give a phone number at the end for you to call in to tell if you've ever had an abduction experience, and you go to your phone and call the CIA and tell them that you have had one. That's right, gotcha. You guys better start being careful, and you better start listening to those of us who are really looking for the truth and not trying to bullshit you. We are being manipulated on a grand scale by people who know what the hell they're doing. And if we don't wake up, we're going to be wherever they want us to be, and only we're going to discover that that's not where we want to be. Next. This. Oh. In my original paper, The Secret Government, which I published May the 23rd, 1989, I said that there had been a military coup in the United States. I documented in my book. 3 other people have confirmed that they saw the same message that I did, and that message was, before Nixon resigned. Nixon was not going to resign. He didn't think that they could impeach him. And I don't know whether he could or not. Nobody will ever know because no trial occurred. But the Joint Chiefs of Staff sent a message to all military commanders of all the military forces, and the message said, upon receipt of this message, you will no longer accept any orders from the White House. Acknowledge receipt. That's unconstitutional. That is a military coup. Nixon was forced to resign because they yanked the military out from under him. They cut off his communications to his commands because those communication centers are under control of the military. In my book, it's documented. You no longer have to take my word for it. Nobody believed me when I published that at first. But now 3 other people have come forward and stated that they saw exactly the same message that I saw. And that's in my book. Their names, everything. Their statements, sworn statements. This is the sworn statement of David Race. It is notarized on the original. You can see the notary seal, which didn't photograph very well. Next. He also named 4 other witnesses that saw it with him. Richard Doty. This is extremely interesting. Richard Doty. Richard Doty was the agent in shadow called Falcon on UFO Cover-Up Live. I also found reference to a project called Project Mogul, which you have to remember that it was in July 1947 that the Roswell crash supposedly took place. You have to remember it's William Moore, a confessed government agent who researched and wrote the Roswell incident. It's Richard Doty, Falcon, who's been working with Moore for years to supply him information. Richard Doty is the counterintelligence agent for the Air Force Office of Special Investigation at Kirtland Air Force Base. These are the notes of an interview that Barry Greenwood did with Richard Doty. It's funny that Project Mogul, a project that released balloons on July July the 3rd,